Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we're joined by Barbara Allen, the founder of Lingua Forme, where she delivers friendly and accessible in-person French classes for adults alongside tutoring, audio resources, and workbooks designed to help people build their skills and confidence. Barbara also has an amazing license opportunity for people who want to start their own business, and she's going to be telling us all about that. She is sponsor of the Adult Class Provider of the Year at the Class Business Awards. I'm excited about this conversation, so let's dive in. Barbara, it's amazing to have you here on the podcast with us today. For everyone that's listening online and watching us on YouTube, please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
Hi, Chrissy. I'm so pleased to be with you today. My name is Barbara Allen. I run Lingua Forme and I teach French to adults in the northeast of England. And I also help other languages teachers to set up and run their own businesses independently.
And obviously, we know each other because we've been working together for the last, this year, haven't we?
This year.
And you have, just tell us a little bit of background to where your love of languages came from.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. What I do remember is when I was about, I'm going to say 10 or 11, and I went into a different classroom when I was at middle school. And there was some French written on the board, and I thought, I know what that means. And I was the only person in the room that knew that. And that's the first time that I can really remember that that I resonated with languages. But I continued after that at school, and I was O levels at the time, and then A levels. And I wanted to study French. I wanted to continue to study French at university, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I applied to do English and French. I was doing English at A level. And then I was really, really interested in the Russian Revolution. And randomly, I applied to go to university to study French and Russian. So I did French and Russian and politics as well. And I continued after university working with my languages. I worked in France for a while. I worked as a coordinator on a European project as well. And I then continued to teach languages, and I don't know where the love comes from, but I just love the French language and I love everything to do with France.
I know, and obviously, how many languages do you speak, Barbara?
Oh, well, I speak French very well. I can read a bit of Russian now, even though I've got a degree in it, but, and I dabble on Duolingo with Portuguese, and I've done a little bit of Latin, but I'm no linguist. I have to say, I work hard at it and I enjoy it.
And you spent a bit of, I know you spent a bit of time traveling around the world. You did spend time in Russia as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the traveling and how the languages helped you with all of that, going around the world, basically.
Well, for me, I come from a small town in the northeast of England called Wallsend, and that is the end of the Roman wall. That's why it's called Wallsend. And it's very working class. I come from a very working class family, as you can probably tell from the accent. And I was first generation to go to university, and that experience of going to live in France and in Russia really gave me that confidence to be able to travel, to work, to really expand my whole world away from the northeast of England. Even though I've come back, I still live 5 miles from where I was born. But it gave me the courage to go out there, to travel around the world. When I left university, I went to Australia with a friend, and we lived in Australia for 6 months. So we worked in Australia, and what we did in Australia is probably a whole podcast interview. But we met people. We travelled around Australia on a Greyhound bus, and we were travelling. We were just out of university, so we were very young. We were travelling on this Greyhound bus. We slept on the bus so that we didn't have to spend money on youth hostels. So, we saw Australia in the raw, and then we travelled back via Hawaii and Los Angeles. And I don't think I would have done that if I hadn't have studied languages at university, because it really did open my whole world, and it really, really changed my life.
Right, so I know you had a lot of adventures when you were travelling around, and it's great that languages gave you that opportunity to see the world. And so you've been teaching adult classes. Like, when did you start your own business then?
The business was set up in 2010, and it went through a few iterations, so it wasn't always teaching languages. There was other bits and pieces to it. But I think even going back even further than that, I think my route into teaching has been slightly different from a lot of other people, because a lot of other people will be working in schools and then going into tutoring or teaching independently. From university, after the travels abroad, I worked in sales, and so I worked in industry. I worked in lots of different companies. So my background was essentially in business. And then when I was working in a small business, I was offered a job in a university in France to go and teach French. And I'd never taught French before, but I took the opportunity. I didn't have any experience, didn't have any training, I had nothing. I had a mentor out there who helped me, and he really, I don't think I would have been able to succeed if it hadn't been for him. He was an ex-university tutor, and he really guided me and helped me. And I was in France for 3 years and came back and got the job with the European Commission funded project, and I was working between France and the UK. But once kids came along, it's more difficult to travel, it's more difficult to work like that. So I decided to return to the love of the teaching. So I've been teaching in France, and I absolutely loved it. So I decided to start the teacher training, and I did teacher training, but not the traditional working in the schools. So I am qualified to teach adults, so from 14 upwards. So in 2010, I qualified and started the business up, and I was also working for local councils, and I was doing I was teaching adults with local councils. So I started doing that then, and the business was set up round about then. But I think really I have been fully in the business since 2018. So that was really when I went full time, and I went full pelt at it. But even so, the kids were still quite young then, so it was a bit light touch. But since COVID, since lockdown, everything has just gone faster. And I've been doing this really since then. And I think COVID and lockdown and everything like that was a real turning point for me. And I changed the business around, and I started doing things in very different ways.
And are all your classes in person? Were they always in person, or did you have online as well at the time?
No, everything is in person. I do have some one-to-ones that I do online, but yes, everything is in person, and everything was always in person until COVID, when obviously everything changed. Because I do like in-person classes, because I really think that you can develop that sense of community with in-person classes. And I think you develop relationships in a slightly different way, and the people within the classes develop those relationships in a slightly different way as well. And I feel that helps with longevity of the classes, because some of my learners have been with me for 14 years. So they have gone from beginners right through. So they have stayed with me, and it's not just staying with me, it's staying together as a group as well, and developing that sense of community and wanting to come along and enjoying the classes, and really benefiting from the classes.
14 years, that's a long time for a customer to stay with you. And I suppose that's the benefit of running adult classes, isn't it? They've got a long time, lifetime value.
It really is, because my oldest learner is 92. She has been with me for 14 years. And I find that absolutely amazing, because people say, oh, I'm too old to learn a language. And I'll say, you are never too old to learn a language. And yes, you're absolutely right, Chrissy. The benefit of teaching adults is that longevity, because you can teach GCSE and you can teach A-level, and with the best will in the world, they may stay with you for 2 years or for 3 or 4 or maybe 5 or 6. But I would say they are probably the exception, whereas for me, that's more the rule. So they do stay. They're not the exceptions. That is what my business is based on, is that longevity. And that means that I don't have to constantly market. I do market, but it's not dependent. My business is not dependent on bringing in new people all the time.
No, and that's a great position to be in. And do the people that are coming to you to learn a language, are they, I suppose, a whole different range of people? Is there people that are like, I've got to learn it for work, or people that are retired and they now want to learn a language? Who's the audience?
It very much depends on the time that the classes are delivered. So during the day, they tend to be, not always, but they tend to be retired people. So people who want to learn a language from scratch, have never learned it before, maybe done it at school and want to refresh. People who've got houses in France and want to develop the language so that they can communicate with their neighbours. So that is your daytime classes. The evening classes tend to be more people who work, who've maybe learnt or maybe done some French at school, maybe GCSE, maybe not even GCSE, but who want to pick it up for one reason or another. I've got somebody who is Canadian born, and she wants to develop her French to chat to her Canadian neighbours and friends when she goes back. I have people who are self-taught, but they then want to develop a bit further. People who have French families. It's a whole range. It's a whole range. Lots of people come for lots of different reasons.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And obviously, you said about them making friends and obviously staying as a group, which I suppose that's all part of building your community. How does that, and has there been groups that have been together for a long period of time?
Yes. The Monday morning group have been together they are the longest standing group. So they're the ones that have been here for 12, 14 years. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's such a long time to have a community.
It is, yes.
It's longer than some people's marriages. It's such a long time. And obviously, I know that you've developed a license opportunity for people who want to start a language business. Talk us through what that looks like.
Well, the reason for doing that is because I can see that there is very much a market for languages, for people who want to learn languages. And as I say, not necessarily GCSE or A level, because I don't see that is the huge market opportunity. I think the huge market opportunity is adults. And from chatting, I chat to a lot of other languages, independent languages teachers, and they are slightly frightened by that market because they're not used to it. So they are used to teaching GCSE, teaching A level, and those curricula are very restricted. So you're told, for example, in the new GCSE spec, you're given a list of words. So if you can make sure that your students know those words, or then can hit specific targets within the curriculum, within the spec, then you're all right. So it's a very, very prescribed what you have to teach. But I say it's a bit like a car park. When you go into a car park and there's one car there and there's loads of other spaces free, and you can guarantee that if you're that one car, somebody's going to come and park beside you because they can't decide where to park. So this is a bit like the teaching adults. So there is so much that you can teach them. You can teach them about going to buy food in a restaurant, or going to a supermarket, or traveling abroad, or there's lots and lots of different things, and it's that embarrassment of choice, and a lot of teachers don't really know where to start. So what I have done is bring together a business model based on mine, because I know that it works, based on my business model on teaching adults, on teaching face-to-face groups, because I think that is what is going to create longevity in your business, and training around all of that. So training the difference between teaching children and teaching adults, because there are differences. It's the difference between pedagogy and andragogy. That's what their technical name is. So an understanding how adults learn differently. And I think that's really, really important. But going back to the resources, so what do you teach? So I will show you what to teach. I'll suggest, obviously, it's your decision because it's your business. I will show you the things that I know work when you're teaching adults from beginner level, post-beginners, intermediate, improvers, advanced. So I've developed a whole program for helping people decide what they are going to teach to their learners and how they can build that business and develop that business. So that's essentially what the license opportunity is.
Yeah, and I know you've got a massive resource bank as well, because you must have like 15 years worth of lesson plans.
Yeah, yes, there's absolutely loads. Yes, yeah. yes, and I do have a website as well where I sell resources and worksheets to other teachers as well. So that's under the Lingua Forme company, but it's branded slightly different. It's branded as Grab and Grow Language Resources.
And I think what's really good about the licenses is obviously you've got the experience, knowledge and know-how because you have built this business and you operate it right now. And that people who are coming in to the sector or coming in wanting to like get started, you've basically got a blueprint for them. Everything is ready to go. It is literally off the shelf and people can just hit the ground running. And
yes. And I even provide them with a website as well. So you can have the website, the logo, all the brand colours, everything like that. So plus the training, everything like that. So you can really hit the ground running.
All right, it's an amazing opportunity, and obviously, and it will just impact more. Well, give more options to more people to learn a language, and also give options to people who want to get started with a business but not sure where to start. Because obviously, we know that there's lots of like franchise models out there for children. Like there's a massive, there's loads of those guys, but for the adult side, there isn't. And it is because I think what you just said, some people want to work specifically with children, some people want to work with the GCSE age group, and then there's this untapped market, which is the adult. So it's a great opportunity.
And you can also mix and match as well, because I'm not saying that you should only go for adults. You can very much mix in one-to-one, whether that's adults or whether that's GCSE or A-level, because that's what I do. That's what I've always done. My fixed points on my classes, and I then sprinkle in one-to-ones around them, because one-to-ones can be a bit more flexible than group classes.
Yeah, and it's just building it up, isn't it? It's building the business around what you want your business to be, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, very much so.
And so you're a sponsor with us for the Class Business Awards for Adult Class Provider of the Year, and it made such it was such a perfect match. What made you want to be a sponsor?
Well, because I do feel that that children's activities are so well represented out there, and I think that classes for adults can go a bit under the radar, and I'm so passionate about lifelong learning, and because I've been in that sector for so long, and that sector has been really chipped away at because there used to be an awful lot. When I first started 15 or so years ago, there was a lot, I'm not going to say a lot of money, but there was public money which could go into adult learning. Now that has just been eroded and eroded and eroded, and it is very few and far between now. The classes, you used to be able to do lots of things. I've done crocheting classes, silversmithing, loads of different things, artistics, creative writing. And now because the money has disappeared, the public money has disappeared. And I really think that there should be champions out there of adult learning, because adult learning, lifelong learning, is essential to our well-being, because it is learning a language, for example, has been shown, research has shown that learning a language can really help push back cognitive decline as we age. And along with healthy eating, exercise, doing things which help you to think, which make you think and push you, then what's bad about all of that? It's all it can help us stay healthy for longer. And
agree. Yeah, totally. I mean, I do remember, there used to be lots of courses and stuff, because I used to be a director of a community centre. And then, like you said, they're just getting depleted, along with, if you remember, the children's centres, and they all got sort of mainly wiped out. And I think it was just that whole decimation, wasn't it, of public services.
Yes.
And then, like you said, now there isn't as many opportunities as available. So, and the whole point about the whole cognitive aspect as well is so essential right now, because obviously people are using mobile phones so much more and stuff already. Like our cognitive stuff is declining because we're spending too much time like flipping from one thing to another thing on socials. So the whole language thing, I think, is like really, really valuable for the future. And just general, like you said, adult classes provisions are underrepresented. So we're super excited to have you on board as a sponsor and like championing the adult class providers out there doing their work. If someone's listening to this podcast and they want to find out more about the license opportunity, where's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
Well, there's information on my website, linguaforme.co.uk, and there is a whole section on there so that you can click on that and get the information pack and get in touch. I'd love to have you along.
Oh, brilliant about Barbara. And we'll look forward to having you with us on the 10th of October. I know you're already there. Yes, it's going to be an epic day. And obviously, if you want to connect with Barbara, please do, make those connections with her. You mainly hang out on LinkedIn.
There's links. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Barbara Allen French, and on Instagram and Facebook, Lingua Forme, and Grab and Go languages as well. I'm on there too.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Barbara, today and sharing your story. And thank you for being a sponsor with us.
Thank you.